What is good, rookies? Welcome to our review of the games 5 and 6, where we had GWS go up against Carlton and then we had Sydney go up against Gold Coast Suns. Before we get into that, there's been some more preseason carnage, which just changes everything. We have had 2 injuries now, 3 if we include a kind of a mid-pricer. So the report is that Bont has come back from scans that was reported calf tightness and is now out for 6 weeks. So we just had our M1, or those who had him, I was not sure about locking him in just because of all the value. But now no one can have him. So I think the best thing to do here is when we have big changes like this. Now we've had Butters, Bont. We just currently had Goulden go down as well. Mac Andrew is potentially got a cracked rib, but some chest injury within like the first 5 minutes of the game. I'm going to recommend that all you need to do, just log into Supercoach, clear your team. I promise you that's going to be the best thing you can do. Just clear the whiteboard. Start fresh. Put in the players that you know are currently locks. And then find the missing pieces. Because I cannot tell you how many times I've looked at the current team structure I've had to change out someone. And it's so hard to try and see what would work. So just do yourself a favor, clear your team. A lot of injuries are happening. This preseason is, I don't know what's in the water at the AFL. I don't know what the management teams are, the clubs are doing. Like there's too many injuries happening and it's not even opening round. So clear your team, restructure your team. It's actually quite sad because there are a lot of good players that we obviously were looking forward to seeing. Butters hasn't missed a game since like 2022. Goulden played all of last year. Like there's just, really disappointing. Feels bad for the players to have everything knocked out before you even start the season. Anyway, with those injuries and concerns out of the way, please make sure you go check your team and just make sure you've moved on these players and made some arrangements. Quick thank you for all the support again. I will always thank you guys for the support and the love that you give, the nice comments, the likes, just interacting. It means a lot and I appreciate it. So good to have you here on this journey. Let's get into the first game, which is GWS versus Carlton. Now, again, when we look at these practice matches, we're looking at what is going to be relevant for super coaches. What are we looking for? Is there anything to take from it considering it is a practice match? And there's a few different considerations we'll take. We'll go through Greater West Sydney just because a few standouts. Callahan. This is screaming breakout season. He's a mid-pricer who I'm fairly sure is sitting around the 4 to 450 mark. It just screams breakout season. He looks really good. He had a quieter first half, but the second half he just stepped it up. They still got smashed by Carlton, don't get me wrong, but he just was everywhere. Only 79% game time, but is what it is. He's got 115 Supercoach points altogether for the price you're paying. He's kind of backed it up now with 2 practice games. So he's on the watch for me. Opening round will say everything that we need to do. So if you're looking for a mid-pricer and you want someone who's potentially about to break out and provide heaps of value, Callahan has to be on your list. Has to be. He's on mine. I recommend everyone does it. Jones, the helmet. He's now just proving how good of a player he is and how involved he's getting. I'm personally not looking at him, but I feel like if he keeps playing this way, I might have to. It's just that damn round 2 bye. The glass cannon, Whitfield, did Whitfield things. I don't think this is a reflection of the floor or the ceiling or whatever it might be. This is just a practice match. He looked good. There was a bit of concern, but looks like it was just a cramp or something like that. But I think Whitfield's still a lock. I have no issue starting him. I don't think anyone should have any issues because Whitfield will most likely be top 6. I'd be surprised if he doesn't end in the top 6. The other notables, I'm not really going to talk about Ash. He's Ash. Not looking at him. He might be relevant, but I haven't seen too much talk about him. We had Keith go in the ruck, who did okay, but Briggs sat out. He apparently has some illness that he's been dealing with this week. So when we look at decoding score, you'll understand because he was going up against Keith. Stone and Leak actually had some decent game time. So Stone had 87% time on ground and managed to 62. It's not great. I don't think his disposal efficiency played in his favor. So yeah, he has the role's there. The role is there. I still think he's a safe pick for potential bench. I don't think I've seen enough where I want to put him on field, especially after seeing Davidson's performance. But I still think the role is good enough for a safe pick in a forward rookie. Now for Leak, we are screaming for defensive rookies. He may have just put his hand up. He had some mid-time as well. Well, as I said, we're going to do a bit more of a deeper analysis after the practice matches to highlight some players on a watch list that I've got going in the background. So Leak's on there. It's promising that he had this time on ground, considering he only played like one quarter last practice match. So we might have some hopes for a playing defensive rookie, which is good. We wanted to see more of Angrove, and it just didn't happen. I still think it's too early. He might be a downgrade target later on. I don't think he's going to get the run that we need. We saw a lot in the first practice match that was really promising. The kid clearly has a good game, and I don't think he's going to have a scoring problem when he gets the time on field. But he only got like 33% time on field and got 11. He just wasn't being involved. I didn't really see, he was just quiet. So ignore him. You're not starting him. Potential downgrade option if he gets a better run. And that's really all I really want to talk about in regards to the Giants. TDK, the ownership of this man just skyrocketed after this game. Scored a 138. And look at the time on ground. This is crazy. If you haven't locked him in at R2, I feel like this has kind of forced your hand because the ceiling of this man is too high to ignore. We know what numbers he can push out when he's solo ruck. I think the plan, for me personally, if I'm taking TDK, is you hold him, you take him all the way until Betnet comes back. When he does come back, maybe hold him for 1 week longer, see what happens. And then either move into flex and see if you can bring in like a Meek, for example, or trade him down to Meek and just cash in. But you kind of have to start TDK now. I don't really feel like he got a choice. Sarah did really well, showing us why we need to consider him as a mid-pricer and a value pick in that midfield. Again, getting to those numbers that we knew he could average when he was at his best and like fit and healthy. And he's just kind of come out and shown us that as well. Again, 57% time on ground, and he pushed out a 108. Again, practice match. So all this is with a grain of salt, and don't expect, again, TDK was going up against Keith. Exaggerated score, but just shows us what he can do. The Kemp kind of came out of the woods. I don't know too much about Kemp. Haven't looked into him too much, but might be a consideration. Sard is also a potential consideration as well for that cheaper backline. If you're struggling and you want to play a bit of a pod, Sard's definitely probably hanging around. I wouldn't say he's screaming to be picked, but we've seen it before. He can do decent numbers. Cripps, just practice match. Wouldn't worry about it. Nick Haynes, not too bad actually. I'd say have a look into him. I'm not personally looking at him, but if you are a Blues boy and you like Haynes, go for it. Doesn't seem like a bad pick. Lord came out, did some really nice things. The rookie, which Camporelli, I think that's how you say his name, came out of the woodworks as well. So a potential rookie we can choose. I think that's really about it in regards to Carlton. We were all just kind of hoping to see TDK do this, and that's exactly what we saw. We wanted confirmation bias on Sarah. That's literally all we wanted to get from this Carlton game. I think we saw enough, given it was a blowout game. Don't get me wrong, but it's about seeing the players' ability to reach that ceiling, and I think we've seen it for PDK and Sarah. So quite happy with that. We'll jump into the game that just finished not long ago, which is Gold Coast Suns versus the Swans. So overall, we're going to jump into Gold Coast first, just because I think that it's going to be a bit more important. There's probably obviously some scaling and stuff as well that's happened. How, man, putting his hand up. Anderson is one that's really important though. Anderson is, I've seen some people refer to Anderson as being the perfect flex player because we know the ceiling of Anderson, but we also know his floor, and he can jump between that depending on the game. Now, depending on like Rao's role and how he goes, I know he was spending some time forward as well and playing heaps of tackles, but Anderson was getting amongst it all tonight and just kind of showed us that, hey, if you want to take a risky pick and try to capture those high scores, you could potentially start him if you can cover the bye. One I highlighted, which was Rioli, did enough. He's at the 500 mark, almost dead 500. If you're wanting to be a bit pottish, a bit riskier, didn't have a full preseason, to my knowledge, but definitely one to watch. Look at opening round again. A lot of these players, it's just looking for confirmation at opening round because that's going to be the true telling of roles where people are going to sit in pecking orders, especially when it comes to like CBAs. But Real is definitely one to watch. Definitely one to watch. Real did relatively good. He's doing Real things. He had a few bad choices and just tried hulking through some tackles and it just didn't work. But that's Real. He's Godfather's old weapon, the one that's been put on the shelf. Noble seems to be fitting into the team really well. Not really sure if he's relevant Supercoach wise. The one I was looking for as a potential cheaper forward option was Humphrey. I don't think it's there. The price is like 2.5, I think, off memory. I don't think it's there. He was definitely getting some mid-time, don't get me wrong, but we still have like Flanders and Miller to come back in. And I think that they're still talking about him getting more mid-time this season, which is great. I think it's year 3 for him. I think it's not his time. I don't think it's this season. Next season is probably when we look at him. Who else? Jepson, not an option. Not an option. Don't even. No. Not going to look at that. No one really else, for Gold Coast Suns at the moment. Sydney, however, Roberts. The last time I watched Roberts, Florent came and pretty much took his role. And now it looks like it's gone the other way. Blakey, the lizard man himself, rested the whole second half. So it definitely seemed like Roberts was getting a bit like Zorko, a bit piggy. I want to see him back this up in opening round because if he can back this up, he's another one of those mid prices in the 400,000s that you can pick. A little bit higher compared to like a Perryman, for example. Still has the buy. But if you were wanting to do something a bit different, because the role is almost similar to what he had last season. I'd say there's a little bit more security in going someone like Roberts versus Perryman, where we're still trying to figure out the exact role that Perryman has. So if Roberts can back this up in opening round, beautiful. Jordan just had a good game. They were just finding him on the wing all the time. I don't think this is going to be a consistent thing because Jordan will most likely tag when needed, as we saw last season. The main standout out of this whole game for me was Sheldrick. His stocks just went up because Goulden went down, which is so rough to see because Goulden was going to be a really good mid option as well because we know what Goulden can do. However, silver lining is it's now opened up massive room for Sheldrick. Mills is out. Now Goulden is. Oh, we're getting corrections, I think. We're getting corrections. I don't know what's going on. I think we're getting corrections. Shieldrick just, look at that, 100 from a rookie. 160, round 3 bye. You have to lock him in, surely. He's on my team. He's been on my team since I saw him play, and I was pretty confident. Then Mills went down, and I said, "Yep, he's a lock. He's got to be a lock." And now Gordon's out. I think it's. I think you just have to. When it comes to these rookies like Levi, Sheldrick now, the sub risk is just getting lower and lower. Levi is just because we have seen his performance and we know what he can do, and they clearly love him there at the club. And there is still sub risk. I don't know if there's even any sub risk with Sheldrick at the moment. I don't. I really doubt he's a sub risk. And as a rookie, that's all you can ask for. So I think you have to seriously consider locking in Sheldrick into your midfield. Who else? We had Bice, who actually looked better than Patton, in my opinion. Patton looked like he was struggling and kind of not as confident. Bice had some kick-ins, which is awesome. I don't think that is at all going to happen moving forward. I think this only happened because Blakey chose to sit out for the second half. Noble also took some kickouts as well. Sorry, not Noble. Roberts took some kickouts as well. So Bice is definitely one to watch for opening round to see if he makes the squad of best 22, 23. I don't know about Patton. Still one to watch by all means. But if I had to choose one at the moment, I would be choosing Bice. It just looks like he's a little bit more confident in his game style and how he plays. So take that from what you will. I think that's really about it for Sydney as well. We've kind of have blitzed through this, and by blitz I mean not really. There's still going to be 15-minute videos, but overall, the main takeaways that I took from tonight is you need to keep an eye on Roberts. Confirmation bias in round 0, opening round. Sheldrick, you need to lock in. Bias is probably ahead of Patton on cracking the squad of best 22. Let's hope Florent doesn't steal Roberts' stuff next week, because Roberts would be a much safer pick, I believe, than like a Perryman or a Short, potentially, just because we've seen him do it before. Whereas Short, we're expecting them to go above what they've been previously done, and then Perryman, it's a new side, it's a new role, still question marks. So Roberts is probably the safer pick. Let's just get confirmation on that. Sheldrick, lock him in. Bias is, probably up there. Nothing else to really take away from the Sydney side. GWS, Anderson, keep an eye on potential pod starting pick if you can cover the bye. Humphreys, not really relevant. I don't think it's there. Jepson, not relevant. Don't look at him. Rao, if you want the shelved weapon, by all means, go for it. And keep a watch on Rioli. The main takeaways that you guys can walk away with for GWS is Callaghan, potential breakout season. Whitfield, glass cannon. If you're confident and you like him, just put him in your team. Don't even think about it. Set and forget. Stone and Leak, seemingly going to play. They seem to get some good time on ground at practice match. Hopefully we see them continue through an opening round. So Stone and Leak, good signs. Still keep an eye on it though. Angrove, don't look at it. He's not cracking the side at the start of the season. Potential downgrade option. And then for the good old Carlton, again, TDK, lock him in. Sarah, potential lock. If you want to play it a bit differently, I'm not sure what his ownership is at the moment. I think it was still under 10%. I think if you want a pot option, he looks in good form. We didn't see enough of him last week, but I think this has just changed people's minds. So Sarah, definitely look at him. Dard, look at him if you want a bit of a pot option. Don't expect too much though. Then we had some, again, Camporelli. We had some rookies put their hands up. That's it, guys. So a few more games to go of the AAMI series. What I will say about the Gold Coast versus Sydney game is it was fucking heated. It was heated. Sam Collins was just wanting to fight everyone. It was actually quite funny because they did have McCartan, who just wanted to fight. And then you have Collins over here who wants to fight. It was actually pretty heated for a practice match. It was quite entertaining. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Plenty more videos to come for the rest of the AAMI series games. Let me know if you have any standouts or takeaways from these games that I haven't mentioned, maybe. If there's anything you guys want to see overall from the AAMI series, do let me know. And again, chuck me a follow on X to stay up to date with all recent announcements, notes moving forward, and collaborations as well. If you made it this far, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.